to have this information for you prior to July when you set a tentative assessment. Right now, if we do nothing, you're going to get a BSI canal budget, just like PGI. And the BSI budget is going to ask you to approve a $120 additional assessment. If, by looking at this request, that $120 may still be 120, maybe 100, maybe 85, I don't know. And it may not be $120 over 6 years. Maybe in the 6th year, we won't need the last assessment. We're trying to look at some more alternatives prior to July, when you actually adopt a tentative budget and a tentative assessment.
So, okay, Tom?
I think that's terrific information to have. In addition to that, I would like to see an updated build-out analysis of BSI. What has happened over the past 5 years on a year-to-year basis with some projections going forward, so we can have an understanding of the amount of vacant lots that likely will be available in BSI.
Kim?
And I was wondering also if you're going to look at that, I mean, if financing it, if I remember right, it was like $100 and some thousand just in finance costs to finance that project. I mean, if it's $700 a person, I mean, why not just pay it all at once?
Well, there have been residents who have asked to be able to pay all of theirs up front. And I think Howard and I talked about this, and there was a reluctance on the part of staff to be wanting to accommodate that because it was such a small amount of money, but maybe,
Well, it'd have to be everybody or nobody.
Yeah,
well, I don't know, I mean,
If you're asking our opinion, what we had said was when you do an assessment, it's an across-the-board assessment, and it
Right.
all goes through the county, and the county's only going to assess that year's assessment. They don't do future assessment. So, yes, they can pay that year's assessment upfront in November, take the 4% discount, but it doesn't help us if we're trying to do the project
Right,
all in
you still
1
have
year.
to finance it.
I would be happy, because in light of time for today, I would be happy to take your recommendations and any others that council has, and we will get together with Public Works. We will go to the very next advisory board meeting and show them and get their input, and then come back to you. I think that you want to be aware that they did ask us in the beginning to give them options.
Right.
And we gave them a cash basis option. And we gave, we did give all those options for them to consider. And it's interesting that you pointed out the dredging one, because I did do that. There is no dredging in fiscal year 2017
Okay.
for standard, because I said to
Okay.
them, surely we can skip 1 year and use that money. So great
So
minds
that's-
think alike.
okay.
So that one helped. The reserve balance is about, at the end of this year, it's only going to be 33,000. The end of 6/17, it's going to be 75,000, but that's because of the new assessment of 120. But we will absolutely explore all of that for you. And I get that the approach is get the assessment as low as we possibly can.
If there's any
If-
way to do that.
If we can, absolutely.
Sounds like we've already
At
done
this
it.
point, I
just
think
double checking. Thank you.
you're aware that the board, after taking everything into consideration, is recommending to you to go forward with the project. And then, as the city manager said, we will certainly keep in mind, be very mindful of what the assessment should be year one. And it is a year-by-year assessment.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. And that,
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, we've done unfinished business. Now we'll go to recommendation from city officers. Howard?
No? You want me to have some?
No, you're so lucky right now. City attorney.
I'm going to hold my announcement till next time.
Okay.
You don't want to announce?
Well, it's already taken as much time. I'm very pleased to announce that the firm has acquired Mark Martella, who is a well-known, brilliant attorney in town, very active in civic affairs as an attorney with Icard Merrill. And that's just the beginning of our expansion to Charlotte. Charlotte County.
So now you really have like a presence here.
And what I would say, though, is that this is not in any way going to affect my service for the city. I'll still remain city attorney, and probably will spend more time in City Hall like I used to on Mondays and Wednesdays, so it'll be more accessible to staff. So it's a really big
So we
thing.
can't have your office 3 days a week. Or you can have your
Tuesday,
Tuesdays a
Thursday,
week.
and Friday.
2 days a week it'll be available. I'll be there, and it'll be available otherwise.
3 days a week. Like I
There we
said,
go. All
3
right.
days a week.
Very nice.
Okay.
City clerk,
Yes, under boards and committees.
where's our citizen public? Everybody left.
You understand?
Under nominations, okay, we have 2 terms on the Punta Gorda Housing Authority, and we have 4 eligible applicants for nomination.
Nominate all.
Nominate all.
Thank you. And then we have 2 terms as alternates on the Planning Commission, and we have 3 eligible applicants.
Almost.
Nominate all.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Policy and legislation, I don't think I
have
have
nothing.
anything. Council member comments, Nancy,
I have none. Thank you. I think we've discussed everything.
Gary,
I'm getting hoarse. No, I have none, thank you.
Tom?
Yes, at my agenda meeting with Howard yesterday, we had a conversation with Pat Campagna from the Peace River Wildlife, and she was giving us an update on where they are with negotiations between the county and the YMCA about the possibility of moving Peace River Wildlife over to Charlotte Park area. And negotiations are not going all that well. Long story short, we need to keep the option available in Ponds Park for that 1 acre that we had spoken about making available to them.
I just didn't even realize the YMCA was involved. I thought it was county property, but they
Well,
need an easement?
Yeah, it is county property, and they need an easement to get from the YMCA to get to the county park. From what I understand, the county has an easement from the YMCA to get to county-sponsored events on their property. But beyond that, there is no easement been made available to the county. And so for the Peace River wildlife folks to get to county property, they need a permanent easement from the YMCA, which is up in the air at this point in time. So that's why we need to keep an option available for them.
I think I mean, until we really get in the nitty-gritty of redesigning the park,
Yeah.
all options are, the 1 acre option is on the table.
Yeah.
But when we do get into the park, then that's when the decisions are gonna have to be made, but we're not there yet.
No, we have some time. And I have one other thing. I've had the honor and privilege of serving on city council now for 3.5 years, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunities. I think we've done a lot. However, I do not intend to seek another term in office. I look forward to the remaining 6 months, looking forward to working with you all to continue making Punta Gorda the best that it can be.
Done a great job, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You still got
Been
6
honored to-
months, don't
Yeah.
be
an honor
calling in
serving.
sick.
It's been an honor serving with you.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Kim?
has. I just wanted to, again, congratulate Karen.
Yay.
Yay.
Well done. We're very proud of you. You did a good job. And also, I just wanted to say, I was planning on attending this swearing-in ceremony. I thought it was at 2, but I guess it's been changed to 3, and I'm not going to be able to make it, and I hate to miss it, but
We'll be there. Some of us will be there. Okay, citizens' comments. I got my new light system. Come on, Ray.
come on, Ray.
I've been watching the presidential debates, and the red lights mean nothing.
Oh, you're gonna pull one of
I'm not
those.
afraid of that
Which,
light.
I didn't give my name. It's
Oh.
Ray,
Hold on. Go ahead.
well, anyways, Ray Rose, Punta Gorda. A couple of real quick items. When you were talking before about the commissioner council meetings and their relative value, if you go back, I think probably Howard and I are the only people in the room that were around when you really had them. The advantage of those meetings is you were sitting in a room, it was a public, and it wasn't easy to duck the issues. And what happens today is you talk to a commissioner, you agree, and it just gets lost and goes off into the wilderness. By those joint meetings, that's why The event center has a nice finish on it, among other things, and there were a number of significant actions that occurred through those meetings. And I've talked casually to a number of the commissioners. They're in favor, like the overlay, but it just doesn't get done. The county commission is not as well organized and proactive as this group is. End sermon there. The bike workshop, one of the things you might want to consider, if we had the time and the space out at PGICA to hold a workshop there with breakout rooms where you could have an overall program and also the ability for each of you to meet maybe with your clientele, I think you're going to find a really big audience when you have that workshop. There's not a lot of opposition, but there's a lot of concerned people about the safety and what's going to happen to the roads and the passageway. Last thing that I'd like to throw out on the, second last thing, is the old library that's on Henry. I assume that that's a county building that was built on city land. Is there a revert clause? Oh, there is not, okay. Do we know what's going to happen to that? No. Okay, one of the things that a group of us, one of the things we need is a senior center. And we don't have a good place. The cultural center does somewhat, but there are a lot of older people that need a place that they're functional. They need a place where they can go to socialize, to play cards, have lectures, and talk. And that building is kind of an ideal spot that could be that. Or you could move some of the bayfront options over there. And when we build the new water center, it can be concentrated particularly for the water. Those are a couple quick things I'd like to point out. And Tom, I'm going to find a candidate that will run that's against children's play equipment in the front yards.
Good luck.
Good morning good afternoon. For the record, Anna Callwood, president of Tribute Woods United Association. I'm standing before you just to get clarification on a few items so I can make sure I'm reporting correctly. The drainage in the community, that's a no? Or was it put off? I'm assuming you said the drainage, it was a yes, okay. And the four-way stop on MLK and Virginia, I'm not sure how the MLK and Charlotte got in, but the reason the MLK and Virginia was of importance, which in the past it did have a stoplight there, a signal light there. But because we now have the community park there and the kids are crossing the street, my having been there in the center, I do see at times where it gets very hairy, and so the thought was if a stop sign is there, it would make the cars at least slow down. So maybe a speed limit sign if you don't want to put in a four-way stop, but we're starting to have some safety issues with the kids from the housing crossing the street to go to the park. And that was something we didn't think about when we thought about putting the park in. So that's the thought. The crosswalk, I don't know how that became, but okay, so that one was good. We agree with that, at least the majority of us. No crosswalk over the railroad tracks. The other thing is a request, and I noticed that Chief left, so I can't ask about that. Lately, what's been happening in the community, and I've seen this firsthand, is the police have been stopping a lot of our bicycle riders because they claim, or they say it's because they're riding on the wrong side of the street. And I've asked this before, and I'm asking again, if possible, if the police department does not want to come and do a workshop, if we can have a printed handout that we can give to them and we can educate them as to what the rules and regs are for riding your bicycle, because it's something that have not been enforced in the past, at least since I've been here. And now that we're enforcing or getting ready to enforce, we would like the community to be educated. And I see my green light flashing, giving me the sweet eye, so I'm going to say that's it. Those are all the things I have requesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments? Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned.
I have one thing.